Hey, what's up guys? Will here for GSM Arena, and welcome to our head-to-head series. Today we have Samsung's Galaxy A26 versus the Galaxy A36. These are both mid-tier phones, but the Galaxy A26 is a less expensive option. For a bit more money, you could get the Galaxy A36, which has a handful of upgrades. So let's compare our review findings head-to-head and see which of these two Samsung mid-ranges would get you the most value. And as always, you can find links to our extensive full reviews in the description below. Each year, the features on Samsung's mid-ranges trickle down to lower-tier devices, so actually the Galaxy A26 has a lot in common with last year's A35. The Galaxy A36 isn't too different at first glance, but of course, a new generation brings some changes here and there. The A26 is actually larger than the A36, it's a little taller and thicker. The design is the same though. The back is flat and made of Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, and it meets a plastic frame. The ingress protection is the same too, rated at IP67 against dust and some water submersion. The Galaxy A26 has a 6.7-inch OLED display with a 1080p resolution and a 120Hz refresh rate. The A36's screen is the same, except that it has a hole punch cutout for the selfie cam instead of a notch, and the bezels are thinner. Another difference is that the A36's screen is considerably brighter. It's able to reach over 1200 nits when needed, while the A26 maxed out at less than 800 nits. Other than that, both displays have the same good sharpness and performance, and neither phone has support for HDR video playback. Also, while both phones have a smooth 120Hz refresh rate, only on the A36 is this adaptive, dialing down to save energy. The A26 stays fixed at 60 or 120Hz. There is a major difference when it comes to audio. The A26 has just a single bottom-firing speaker, while the A36 has stereo speakers. Both phone speakers earned a loudness rating of good, but the A36's setup sounds better. The sound is warmer and deeper with more bass. Let's have a listen to both to compare.
Close the window and your eyes disappear into the blue. Wrap your fingers around the great escape.
The A26 does have something that the A36 doesn't, and that's expandable storage via microSD card. The onboard storage options are the same. Both phones can come with 128 or 256 gigs built in. Another difference is the fingerprint reader. The A36 has an optical under-display reader, while the A26 is side-mounted, built into the power button. All of the new Samsung phones come with the latest One UI 7 on board on top of Android 15, so you get the same software experience on either phone. This includes some of Samsung's latest features, even some AI-based ones. If you'd like to find out more about One UI 7, you can check out our dedicated video. And for software support, Samsung promises 6 OS updates and 6 years of security patches for either phone. The Galaxy A26 uses the same chipset as last year's A35. It's an Exynos 1380 made in-house by Samsung. Meanwhile, the Galaxy A36 runs on a mid-range chipset from Qualcomm, a Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. There isn't a huge difference in power here. In benchmarks, the A26 manages to earn roughly the same scores as the higher tier model, only falling behind slightly in graphics tests. So overall, both phones provide about the same performance, which is adequate for the class. And as expected for devices with a relatively modest chipset, the thermal management is great either way. Both phones have 5000 mAh batteries, but the A36 has the edge when it comes to battery life, earning a higher active use score in our tests. Still, neither phone is exactly what you'd call a battery life champ. The Galaxy A36's charging is rated higher at 45 watts compared to 25 watts on the A26. As a result, its charging is faster, but not by a lot. The A36 charged to 60% in half an hour compared to 51% on the A26, and a full charge was about 10 minutes faster on the new model. And now we have the cameras. On the back, the Galaxy A26 has a main cam, an ultra-wide, and a macro camera. The setup on the A36 is very similar, but its main camera has a larger sensor, and its macro shooter is higher res. We'll start by comparing shots from the main cameras. There are some minor differences if you look closely. The A36 has a slight advantage over the A26 in terms of sharpness, fine detail, and dynamic range. Plus, the bigger main sensor on the Galaxy A36 allows it to take sharper photos at 2x digital zoom. At night, the difference between the main camera's output is slight, but the A36 achieves nicer contrast and livelier colors. When it comes to the ultra-wide, the two devices offer very different renditions, and we like the A26's better. Not only are its ultra-wide shots sharper, but they have more accurate colors, while the A36 uses warmer colors. At night, the colors actually look better on the A36, but its shadows seem a bit too bright looking. With the Galaxy A36, Samsung has introduced a new 12-megapixel selfie camera, compared to the 13-megapixel one on the A26. Selfies look great from either phone, and it's hard to tell a difference between the two quality-wise without pixel peeping. The A36 has the advantage in that it can record 4K selfie videos, while the A26's selfie cam is capped at 1080p. Besides that, both phones can record 1080p videos with their ultra-wide cameras, and their main cameras can shoot in 4K, but only the A36 has video stabilization in that resolution. When recording with the main cameras, both phones' 4K videos are solid, but the Galaxy A26 delivers better dynamic range, while the A36 has slightly better definition. The Galaxy A26's ultra-wide camera also has better dynamic range, and this time it also has a bit better detail than the A36. And here's a look at the main camera's low-light videos, which are about the same in quality, except that the A26 has better colors and exposure. So there you have it, the Galaxy A26 versus its higher-tier sibling, the A36. Both phones have a similar design, and the chipset performance is comparable too. You have the same software features and support, and the camera setups are very similar as well. The Galaxy A26 has better performance when it comes to ultra-wide stills, and it also has microSD expandable storage. Its fingerprint reader is side-mounted, if you prefer that, and this phone is less expensive. With the Galaxy A36, you get a brighter display that's more elegant with its thinner bezels and smaller cutout for the selfie cam. There are stereo speakers, and there's an under-display fingerprint reader. The battery life is a little longer, and the charging is a bit faster. And there's support for video stabilization in 4K, and 4K selfie video recording. Those upgrades really add up, and the A36 is the better device overall. We'd only recommend getting the A26 if you're strapped for cash, or you absolutely need a microSD slot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.